Just notice to all, we are live and being recorded.
Okay,
Thank you, Mrs. B.
we're good to go. As soon as Commissioner Martinez joins us.
Great, thank you. We'll wait till Mr. Martinez. I want to thank everyone who's watching for being patient with us. We are just waiting for quorum. In the meantime, we'll just quietly wait. Madam Secretary, can we just double check with Commissioner Martinez?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Thank you. Oh, like the Beatles, the Cars, Taylor
She's connecting to the, right now. One moment.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Martinez, for joining us today. This is a special, I just want to, since we have quorum, we're going to go ahead and begin our meeting. This is a special meeting of the Community Development Commission. Today is Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. Madam Recording Secretary, can you please take roll?
Yes. Oh, boy. Commissioner Afusia, Commissioner Covington, Commissioner Frazier, Commissioner Le. Okay. Commissioner Martinez. Okay. Commissioner Martinez, you're here, right? Yes. Commissioner Santana,
Here.
Commissioner Torres,
Here.
Commissioner Vasquez. Thank you. We have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Seeing a quorum, this meeting is officially called to order. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're going to be moving on to the consent calendar. This is the time for the commission to consider matters under the consent calendar of item number 1. Do I have a motion for consent item 1? Commissioners, do I have a motion? I have a motion from Commissioner Torres. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Dang Lee. Commissioner Lee. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I believe Mr. Hodge, do we have to take a roll call, sir?
Yes, you do.
Okay, let's do a roll call. Madam Secretary?
Okay. Commissioner Le.
Aye.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
and Commissioner Martinez.
Aye. Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Matter to approve item 1. Thank you. I forgot to say any of those who are opposed, but since it's 4-0, we're good to go. So we're moving on to the business calendar. We will now consider matters under the business calendar. The first item on the business calendar is item number 2, which is conduct a public hearing to receive a comment on funding for priorities and needs for the fiscal year of 2021 through 2022 annual action plan. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a time and place for public hearing of the Community Development Commission of the City of Santa Ana for the 2021 and 2022 annual action plan. First, we'll staff report a summary. We'll provide a summary and a staff report. Would you please provide that report?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are excited today to be able to hold our public hearing on the funding priorities and needs for our fiscal year 21-22 annual action plan. So as we shared with the commission during our staff presentation at the last meeting, we have 3 entitlement grants. We just received our allocation of funding on Monday, and I am going to hand it off to Mr. David Flores, who will be providing our staff presentation on this item.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So good evening, commissioners and members of the public that are joining us today. My name is David Flores, Community Development Analyst, responsible for the Community Development Block Grant Program. I will be providing you with a brief presentation on our annual action plan for fiscal year 2021-2022. Santa Ana receives U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development entitlement grants to address housing, community development, and economic development needs in the city. The city's allocation for fiscal year 2021-2022 is as follows. For the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, we are going to receive $5.5 million. For the Home Investment Partnership Grant, we will receive $1.7 million. And for the Emergency Solutions Grant, or ESG, $489,000. These funds will be programmed and allocated in the city's annual action plan that will be approved at the City Council's meeting at a later date. As part of the process to develop the annual action plan, Santa Ana gathers feedback and input from residents and stakeholders via 2 public hearings. The purpose of the first public hearing is to obtain comments on funding priorities for the upcoming year in order to develop the draft annual action plan. This meeting is typically held at our Community Development Commission meeting, which is being held today. The purpose of the second public hearing is to accept public comment on the draft annual action plan following a 30-day public review and comment period. During the 30-day public review and comment period, the draft annual action plan will be available to the public at 3 physical locations that include, but will not be limited to, the Community Development Agency on the 6th floor of City Hall, Office of the Clerk of the Council on the 8th floor of City Hall, and at the 2 Santa Ana libraries. Additionally, we will post the draft annual action document at the city's Housing Division website or homepage, as well as the CDBG Home and ESG homepage for public to review. As part of the current consolidation plan, the city established six priority needs and goals for HUD funding and activities. I want to point that the activities responding to the impact of COVID-19 are addressed under a separate amendment to the fiscal year 2021 annual action plan and will not be addressed during this meeting. So the 6 priority needs and goals that were established last year and approved by the City Council are as follows. So the first one is to expand supply of affordable housing. And we do this by acquiring property and maintaining our housing stock. Number 2 is to preserve supply of affordable housing and we do this by maintenance and preservation. Number 3 is to provide access to and supply of public services to our residents in the city of Santa Ana. And we do this by contracting out with public service nonprofit organizations to provide the necessary programs to our residents. I want to point out that we currently have contracts with 19 nonprofit organizations that provide 22 public service programs. And some of those programs are domestic violence prevention programs, healthcare services programs, youth services, senior services, and legal services. Number 4, we increase access to and supply of homeless services and facilities through our ESG program. Number 5, promote economic opportunities, and we do this by providing micro enterprise grants to small businesses within the city of Santa Ana to make sure that they become sustainable throughout the years. Number 6, we improve the city public facilities and infrastructures. And to give you some examples of how we do this, we are currently in the process of rehabilitating our local streets and sidewalks in residential areas of the city. We improve our parks and we renovate our libraries. And those are just some examples of what we're currently doing. So with that, I would like to transfer it over to our chair, unless you have any questions.
If I may, really quick, just to add that we sent out a press release last Wednesday notifying the community of this public hearing. And we also issued a public notice in Spanish, Vietnamese, and English regarding this public hearing and opportunity to provide input on the funding priorities and needs for our fiscal year 21-22 annual action. Thank you so much, David, for that terrific presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. David. Madam Secretary, are there any written communications?
Not written, but we do have 3 guests. We have one present and
Okay, so now we'd like to hear from the public. If we can just start queuing up those 3 people who would like to speak. Okay. My apologies. 1 second. Okay. So if you wish to speak, you may voluntarily state your name, your address, and please be kind enough to limit your time and comments to 3 minutes. Since we do have 3 speakers, we will go ahead and like to queue up the first speaker. Madam Secretary?
they're on here, but they're not.
We'll give it 30 seconds.
For the 2 guests that are present, Lucinda Solorzano, do you have any comments for the public hearing? I don't know if she's able to hear me.
We'll go ahead and give it another 30 seconds.
And Circle Point, do you have any comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing that there's no public hearing, we're going to go ahead and close the hearing. We're going to start moving to comments. Does staff have any comments they would wish to share with the commission?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, we presented the staff report for your consideration and presented a presentation on the item before you today.
Fantastic. Moving on, would the commission have any comments? Commissioners?
Question.
Yeah, good. Vice Chair Torres.
In regards to the Emergency Solutions Grant, I know that there's subrecipients to the grant. One of them being the HEART program. Is there information on how funds are being used by subrecipients of the grant?
Absolutely. I'll defer that question to Mikkel Daly, who manages our ESG program.
Thank you.
The HEART program is,
Would any other commissioners like to address for public comments?
Sorry, Mr.
Not this
Chairman, we were responding to Commissioner Torres's question.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
could you hear me?
Barely.
Hear you.
Yeah, barely.
So the Santa Ana Police Department runs the HEART program, and they receive $51,880. They received for the fund year 2020 to 21 for street outreach to help move homeless people off of the streets. Did you need additional information?
Is there further information on how the outreach is being done, or like a strategy, or a plan that they do for outreach in the streets for homeless folks?
Yes, I can give you a copy of what they submitted as their plan that was approved for the funding.
Okay, thank you.
I would add to that. So you asked about what other providers we fund, right? Was that a part of your question?
I have the list of the 5, and I'm just wondering if there's information on how the grants are being used for to support the homeless population,
Okay, so
and specifically for the HEART program.
okay, specific to the HEART program. Okay, just want to make sure we fully answered your question.
Awesome, guys. I want to thank everyone who attended this meeting. It was kind of short notice. Oh, yes, Ms. Martinez, go ahead, ma'am.
And sorry, everybody, for showing up late. I thought it was at 4:30. Apologies. I'm a little concerned about the lack of community participation in this meeting, honestly. I know that it was mentioned that there was a notice posted last week. I kind of browsed through the citizen participation plan where it says that there should be a notice 14 days in advance. So I'm a little concerned about that. And I just kind of wanted to ask if there was a way for us to do a little better on that, if there were any options that we could do as far as outreach. I know that it's hard for folks around here to get information, especially if it's only through a website or a newspaper article or something like that. So I just kind of wanted to ask about those efforts and if there were going to be additional efforts so that the committee can show up to the city council meeting.
Absolutely. David, do you want to talk about our investment in public notices and the compliance with the citizen participation plan and the public notice?
Sure. So we go beyond what we have to make sure that we engage the community. We do want their participation. We want to hear their input. So I'm glad that you're aware of that 14-day notice. That's really important. That's part of our citizen participation plan. So I do want to point out to you that we did publish a notice 16 days before this meeting on the OC Register, La Opinión, and the Vietnamese newspaper. So that was one effort that we put forward. The second one is we sent out a nixle last week, and it was in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese to the community. In addition to that, we created an event on the city homepage so that whoever logged in could look at all the events that are going on in the city, and hopefully they became aware that we were having this meeting today. So we always try to do as much as we can. Historically, I've been with the city for for 16 years, but doing this job for about maybe 3.5 years. And historically, it's been a very low turnout. We're not exactly sure why we have a low turnout to these types of meetings, but it's always been that way. We do get a higher turnout when we go to the city council meeting and we have that second public hearing. More people participate during that meeting. So we will continue to reach out to the community. As a matter of fact, for the second public hearing, we have to send out a second notice. We'll do the exact same thing. We'll send out a nixle. We'll create an event. We'll ask our community partners for CDBG, all the nonprofits, to notify all of their participants that they're currently serving so that hopefully they can come and participate as well. So we try to do as much as we can to be open and transparent throughout this process. But thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, and I just, and I know it's a lot of work and I do appreciate you all doing that.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, and I wanted to offer, like, if you all wanted to get in contact with some of the local nonprofit orgs, I could also just forward any announcements that you all have to local organizers who are really good at outreaching to the community. Like Latino Health Access is really good with their promotora models. So I think they could help get the word out. And then if it's any idea, maybe like Section 8 recipients could get a notice with any mail that they could get. I think that could help out. But yeah, I just wanted to offer my help with that if you all wanted it.
Kind of
Yeah,
have a
definitely. We
question.
appreciate that.
Commissioner Lee, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so follow-up question is that how much presence do we have on social media for marketing wise? I mean, I understand we spend 6,000 on newspaper, but like Fox, now that we barely touch the OC register, So I mean, and then I done marketing to Facebook and social media before. I mean, it costs like $50, $100 to reach out like 1,000 viewer.
So I will take this back, and I think we should work with our city, with our comms. I think, thank you, Commissioner Martinez, Commissioner Lee. These are valid concerns. I think since I started with the commission, we were gaining traction, especially during the CDBG application when we had more members coming in. It's just difficult because this is our second week back in Zoom, and let's be honest, it's up to us all commissioners to use our networks to push things out and encourage more folks to get involved. If you have tips and opinions, please send in writing to our city staff so they can take those consideration. If it's, folks are not touching the OC register and it's something else, let's give them an opinion, but let's challenge ourselves to really tap into the community and tell them, what we're doing, how important your respective roles are, because we're, providing feedback, and we're also informing our council members what's going on here. So thank you for having that energy to get this out. I want this to be a very robust and active commission, and we should have as much participation as possible, right? And so that being said, if there isn't any further comments, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting, but I will challenge my commissioners to get more folks to log in. And the cool thing about our Zoom is that it's being archived and it could be found on YouTube as well as the city's page. But most importantly, we want participation and we want to listen to what people are saying, correct? So yes, sir.
So I just want to add on, just for the future reference, for reach out. I mean, I would like to receive an email with that, what you just were mentioning, like the content, where we can basically repost it on our own social media. In the case of the city won't allow to go on social media, then we can do it. But we need the material, the information that we can blast it on the social media. I mean, we have our own group of
Great,
people.
right.
Yeah.
And I'll let Mr. Flores, you can reach out to you, but our job is not pretty much to tell them, like, we can make recommendations, and I know the city has been would listen to them. But there's also you as your own person can definitely create your own flyers on Instagram, and you can get as creative as you want. And so maybe we can discuss that a little bit later. And then I also want to see if Madam Secretary, if you can share my personal contact, my cell phone and email to fellow commissioners. That way we can all have each other's phone numbers. I know we're not supposed to talk all at once, but we can talk offline and then talk about how, just get, creative ideas. I know when we're on this platform, it's a little bit more different, but I would love to have like these one-on-ones with my fellow commissioners just to hear your concerns and what we can do to better improve this commission. And if there isn't any additional comments, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and I will see you guys on our next meeting, which is scheduled for Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. I want to thank you guys for being part of this meeting today.
Thank you, guys.